Hello everyone, here I am again with another video from my request list, but this time it's for somebody whose main life purpose is to be the energy of the six. And of course you've got the sub lessons with that, but you know that. So this person is here to be a life path 6, but their heart vibrates at the energy of the 9. So they're here to achieve the elements of the 6, and if they can, follow their heart using the energy of the 9. So the good thing about these two numbers together is the 6 and the 9, or the 3, 6 and the 9, are very creative numbers. And the soul urge 9 is all about wanting to be creative and intuitive and improving the well-being of others. So your heart wants to help others and improve others' lives with your words, or the way you live, or the things you say, the wisdom you preach, or the creative artistry that you express through music and art and any kind of creative artistry. So you want to help others. You want to do it creatively. You want to do it intuitively. And it's all to be humanitarian and to improve the well-being of others. But the life path 6 is here to have a utopian ideal, to want great things for humanity, but also learn to understand that we're not at that level of development yet. They've got to have their utopian vision and their ideal, but learn to reconcile the world as it is now with practical reality and not be judgmental of themselves, the world, and everyone around them that doesn't meet their ideals and expectations. Now, both these numbers are very idealistic numbers. So the 6 fundamentally wants to make the world a better place. The 6 wants to make the world more utopian. They want to look after the most vulnerable. They want to heal and care for and comfort and bring peace to those that need it the most. And they're here to do that with their words, their advice, and their creative artistry, their ability with art and aesthetics and music, depending on which creative medium they find more interesting and more palatable. They'll choose that element of creative artistry to become part of what they use to nurture others at home and in their community mostly. But the soul urge 9 wants to be creative, and it wants to help people on a wider scale. So you might find that your life path 6 is saying, look after your family, look after those close, but don't spread yourself too thin, because your heart might want to save the world. It might want to bring joy and help and all kinds of things to people far away. But actually your life path is to start at home and with your community. So fundamentally, these two numbers together are all about nurturing others, bringing well-being, improving the world, making it a better place, and doing it intuitively and creatively. That's these two numbers together in a nutshell. And the life path 6 is quite supported by the 9 in many ways, because they're very similar creative, expressive energies, but there are some fundamental differences which will both help and sometimes hinder a little bit your life path number. So we're going to start by looking at what you're here to do, what your soul and your heart and your motivation wants to do, and then break down your life path 6 into its elements and look at how each of those elements are helped or hindered by your heart and your soul and your motivation. So as a life path 6, your areas of development, your tasks, your challenges, your lessons to learn, your tasks to achieve in this lifetime that aren't going to be easy. You know, your life path and birthday numbers are not numbers that you're necessarily going to find easy to achieve. It's the next stage in your evolution. It's your next step, basically. So you're here to learn to be that visionary of the ideal, the dreamer, the utopian dreamer of an amazing world where everyone is taken care of and no one is poor or hungry or hurt. Everybody lives this ideal utopian life. but the 6 has to have that vision and work towards it. But to be healthy, they've got to have full acceptance of reality as it is now. They've got to accept themselves, the people around them, and not have too higher expectations, and this world as perfectly imperfect, just a balance of the light and the dark, and of a virtual school of experience, which is what this world is. A utopian world will teach us nothing to evolve our soul, and it's really important that the 6 learns that on a deep level. Perfection creates nothing to strive for, and it brings stagnancy and staying the same, and we're already perfect, so we're great. No, none of us are perfect. That's why we're here. And 6s tend to strive for this perfection in everything they do, and then judge themselves, other people in the world, for not being that vision of their perfection. But as a 6, you've got to have that vision, but you've got to be a pragmatic idealist. So it's about having the dream, but understanding that fundamentally the world isn't at that level of development. And if it was, us living in a utopian world, think about it. What is an ideal world going to teach us? And then why would we bother incarnating if we're not going to learn and evolve? Something for a 6 to think about. You've got to learn to be compassionate, a socially competent nurturer, team player, family builder. Especially 6s are like mama and papa bears. They're a sensible advisor. They have healthy boundaries that they could use, and use their words, their advice, their comfort and the peace that they bring, the comforting home that they create, and also their creative artistry, aesthetic potential, or musical ability. You can do any or all of these to help you nurture others, your family, your community, most importantly. So that's what you're here to do as a 6. So there'll be many elements of that you may struggle with because of your expression number, and certain things that you may or may not want to do because of your soul urge 9. Because as a soul urge 9, you're motivated to develop strong spiritual intuitive wisdom and ideals. 9s, they support faith over logic. They believe faith over logic. They follow faith over logic, their own intuitive inner voice and spiritual wisdom over worldly logic, or the world's idea of logic. 9s want to be very spiritual and trusting of their heart and the people around them, to the point where they know that this world is made perfectly for us to learn. 50% dark, 50% light. So they're driven to be ethical, driven to be responsible in their influence and their teaching and their advice, acting with integrity and fundamentally to improve the well-being of others. The 9 is very humanitarian. It's an energy that wants to help as many people as possible, to the point where you can become a fixer if you try and do too much. And what with your 6 service energy, you've got to be careful that you're not doing too much for others. You want to communicate, you want to influence others by practicing your preached wisdom as a teacher, setting an example, speaking to groups, counselling, advising, and being entrepreneurial, marketing your talents and passions and making money from that as an entrepreneur. So fundamentally, these 2 numbers together are extremely creative, extremely nurturing, and fundamentally use their words and their creative artistry to improve the well-being of others. So your heart very much matches what you're here to do as a life path 6. But let's break it down and see whether there's any little elements, little areas that maybe you may struggle with more, or simply because your heart doesn't always follow the path that you're here to do. So you're here to be, as I've said, a visionary of the ideal, the dreamer of a utopian world where everyone's looked after, no one's in pain, no one's hungry, no one's thirsty. That utopian ideal that we all feel that we're striving towards. And you want to act, or you're here to act practically, to bring your realistic utopian ideals to this earth. And that will be daily activities, practical action that you do for others that you feel is closer to your utopian ideal, because you can only do it practically at the end of the day. And you can bring ideas that are realistic as a visionary that you're here to be. Your 9, your soul 9, what you really want to do, it means that you're interested. You love the idea of creating that utopian idealistic vision, because the 9 energy is all about making things better, especially improving people's lives and the way they lead their lives and how they feel within, physically and emotionally. So you can support your life path 6 easy here by creating and wanting to, you've got the heart to, create that clear utopian vision of your utopian ideals. It doesn't matter at first whether they're realistic. You create the ideal first, and then you think about what's realistic, what's acceptable, what can be achieved in this world, and then start to express that practically. So support your life path 6 by creating that clear vision of your utopian ideals, and also ensuring that your ideals are filtered through your intuitive wisdom for their truth and their feasibility at this level in our evolution. Because there's just some ideals that, we haven't developed to that point yet, and the world will vibrate at a higher level when we vibrate at a higher level as a collective. And at the moment we're still learning, but that's the point of life, right? To learn, develop and evolve our soul. So the world is perfectly imperfect, just the way it needs to be for us to experience the light and the dark. And we need to experience both of those in order to evolve. So your utopian ideals are great to look towards and aspire towards until they become more realistic, if they ever become realistic. And ensuring that your ideals are filtered through your intuitive wisdom to know what's realistic at any one time will help you know what's feasible and what isn't, and stop you from judging yourself and others so much. You're here to learn not to use your ideals, your vision of perfection, as a benchmark for your internal happiness, because 6s can get really disappointed with the world, with themselves and with the people around them for not meeting their own standards. They base their emotional well-being on the achievement of this perfection that we're not even close to achieving yet. And then, like I said, 6s will judge themselves and others for not hitting that perfection. And this can cause very deep unhappiness and even leading to depressive feelings. Your 9 motivation energy means that you may choose at times to judge yourself and others for not meeting your ideals. And it can sometimes have an effect on your own emotional well-being. But as a 9, you're also very spiritual, and you've got to answer that drive to listen to your intuition. And you are motivated to want to trust your intuitive faith and wisdom, which has the potential to water down or even remove your tendency to judge, because you start to understand why things are like they are at this time, and that we're all on a path of learning and development. To support your life path 6, meditate more, connect with your higher source energy and your intuitive wisdom. Read it, listen to it, trust it, act on it, to help you to reconcile your utopian high ideals with reality as it is now, to avoid unhappiness and self-judgment and judgment of everything and feeling down about it. Your perfectionism can make you an overachiever as well. It can make you keep checking because of constant self-judgment and changing your mind and thinking that's not good enough, and then tweaking it again and still not being happy with it and never meeting your own standards. And the 6 has got to learn to keep that big picture in mind and not get stuck in that petty detail, because you often judge small imperfections and then ruin the successes and not realise that actually you've learnt a lot and it's been quite a good day. So you miss your big picture successes because you're judging again those small petty details that again aren't meeting your vision of the ideal. Your 9 motivation heart means that you choose to be perfectionistic. That's where you're both very similar in energy, which could exacerbate your tendency to judge at times yourself, people around you, the world, etc., etc. But you also like to refer to and prioritize that intuition. It's going to be a savior for you to walk a spiritual path, because it's really going to help you to stop digging into the real depths of misery that being idealistic can bring when your ideals aren't achieved. So turn to the spiritual, look to your intuitive voice within and ask your intuition, is this perfection that I am trying to bring even possible at the moment? Am I judging myself and everyone else too harshly? Always going back to that intuitive voice within, because that's the ultimate wisdom, and feeling that, yeah, maybe I am pushing myself and others too hard to hit targets that are just unreachable at the moment, or that never will be, or are a long way from being reachable in our current state. So to support your life path 6, study that spiritual wisdom, get really involved with it, especially relating to consciousness and source energy. Be in everything, both light and dark. We have this thing that, oh no, God is all good and no evil, and we must keep the darkness away. We must keep God, the negative away. That's all part of our learning, the darkness. And we've got to acknowledge our own dark side as well as our light side, in order again to learn and develop without pushing certain elements of us and the world away. You've got to relate more to the fact that source universe is everything. I know it's hard to wrap your brain around, but it's everything. All experience, both light and dark, existing in balance for our learning and soul's evolution. It's a virtual reality school of learning and evolution and experience. Perfection's only ever going to come when we start to transcend our ideals and stop judging ourselves by them. You're here to learn to be a nurturer, compassionate, caring, giving, like a mama bear or a papa bear, especially for those that are vulnerable or struggling within your close relationships, your community, and lesser so your wider world, because 6s can be they want everyone to live in a utopian world, and that can mean the whole world as well. But they normally focus, or they're here to focus their nurture and their ideals on family, close relationships and their community, but also have thoughts for the wider world. But again, the judgmental nature of the 6 can make them sometimes not so nurturing, sometimes quite bigoted, because 9s are here to accept everyone, and sometimes a 6 can be quite judgmental, and a 9, if they're not vibrating well, can be quite judgmental. But a 9 that is healthy means that they choose to be broad-minded, so that they're more humane. They want to look after everyone, no matter what the colour of their skin, what religion they are, what the beliefs they are, what their lifestyle is. An amazing 9 chooses to be broad-minded and accept everyone as just a golden soul within a human body. This is just your body of experience this time. You've been a different race, gender, different person in previous lives. This is just this experience that you're having now, and you want to know this is a 9, and it makes you more broad-minded and inclusive, and you influence for everybody's well-being, for the intention of improving the well-being of everyone. You like, though, to stretch your compassion to the wider world more than the 6 does. You both want to help everyone, but the 9 is more wide and the 6 is more home. So the 9 will want to stretch their compassion wider, and when you stretch yourself too thin, it can make you a bit more distant with those close, because you're spreading yourself too thin. So you've got to be careful as a soul urge 9 that you're not helping the wider world so much that those closest to you are almost being neglected of your attention and care. So your life path 6 needs you to nurture those closer to you as a priority and your community. Balance and focus some nurture closer to home to achieve comfort and love and peace in your home and family and your community life. And it's not saying don't consider those far away, but you have to choose one or the other to focus on. And for you as a 6, your path is more home and hearth and community. Even though your soul wants to help more people, try not to let that dilute your 6-ness, because you can't heal and help everyone all of the time. That's good for you to know as a double service number in your core. I don't know what your expression number is, the person that requested this video, but if you have another service number as your expression number, this will be intensified. You're here to develop boundaries. Hang on, did I finish that? Yeah, closer to home. You're here to develop boundaries to ensure that your mental and physical health is good. Because if you help everyone else too much and you don't help yourself enough, you're going to burn out, and you've got to look after yourself and make sure you're healthy before and as well as helping others, because you're a 6 who loves to serve and a 9 that wants to fix everyone's life. So you can do a lot for others, sometimes too much, which can make you feel undervalued, unappreciated, and you're kind of stamping all over your boundaries for wellness and their boundaries. I mean, they've got to walk their own path and develop in their own way, make their own mistakes. I mean, you can't nurture and comfort and cushion and fix everything. You can only give people the tools and the knowledge in order to do it themselves. You know, you've got to have those boundaries in place, not only for their learning and development, but for your well-being as well, because 6s can want to help so much that they can force unsolicited advice and even meddle in other people's lives. And as a soul urge number 9, very much so, that can really exacerbate your need to fix. And, you know, you can really do too much for others and basically, for want of a better word, stick your nose in too much. And it's all for good intention. It's all to improve their lives. But people have got to run their own lives and make their own mistakes. So it's important that you allow people to walk their own path of challenge, because you're a motivation 9. And it does mean that you will be driven to fix other people's lives, overstepping other people's boundaries and ignoring your own a lot of the time. 9s don't like asking for help themselves. They like giving help, but not soul urge 9s don't like asking for help back. So to support your life path 6, you must set and assert boundaries on how much you do for others, when and how much you will do, and to know when to stop helping and set the person free to do their own thing and learn their own lessons, and for you to rest and be a family person yourself. Remember, you're a mama or a papa bear, so you're here to develop your family. So you mustn't pull away from your family too much to help everyone else and help the wider world, and try and be stretched too thin is that word that you will end up doing many times. People have got to walk their own path of challenge. To help them is to disrupt their learning and evolution as a soul. They've got to learn and make their own mistakes. You can only give them the wisdom and the tools to act independently. Okay? So you've got to develop your social skills as well. Be a team player so that people will listen to you when you speak and when you give them your advice or your counsel or your nurture. But you've got to break through low self-esteem and shyness to be more talkative, more socially relaxed, fun-loving, because, you know, you can, 6s like to watch and hide in the background and can feel a bit shy when they first meet people. But you're here to be social. You're here to help people, and to help people, you need to build rapport with them. You need to create relationships with them so that they trust you and they trust the wisdom that you give them and the creative artistry that you provide them with as a 6. Your 9 motivation energy means that you like being within a team. You love being around others, and you love to assume the role of supportive leader an influencer. You kind of like to be in charge, but you do it in a very parental way, very influencing towards others' well-being, I know best kind of leadership. And often the soul urge 9 will feel, well, yeah, they're leading and they're nurturing others parentally for their own good in order to improve their well-being. You know, their heart is ethical, their heart is in the right place. And you love to be social as a soul urge 9. You love to laugh, you want to feel relaxed around others. So to help you achieve your life path 6, put yourself in positions, opportunities where you can learn to be more socially comfortable and relaxed around others and a relaxed team player around other people. You're here to, as I've said, create that tranquil, nurturing home. That place where you can feel safe and stable and secure and bring peace to your family and those around you. And then, you know, nurture your family and community in that environment of stability and peace and love and comfort. Because, you know, the 6 is here to nurture, they're here to look after the well-being of others, which means at their worst, at their lowest, they can be downright selfish and quite a drama queen. And at their very worst, quite neglectful. And sometimes 6s at their worst can nurture in an unhealthy way. And they feel that they're doing the right thing, that actually they're not nurturing in a healthy way. But that's at your worst. So 6s have got to be careful that they're nurturing those around them in a healthy way, in an environment of warmth and stability and acceptance and peace and love, so that, you know, they can create that stable, nurturing, tranquil home that they're here to create. And of course, it's your life path, so it's not necessarily something you as a life path 6 is going to find easy. But as a motivated 9, you like to be loving, you like to be passionate, you like to be emotional, which can help you create that loving home. But it might not always be tranquil, because 9s love drama, they love risk, they love adventure, they love change, they like endings and new beginnings. So whereas they love to be loving, they love to be social, and they love to be around family, it might not always be as tranquil as the 6 is here to create. So you've got to be careful that your heart isn't driving you to be too dramatic and too adventurous when it comes to your home and family life, because sometimes we need somewhere to rest and decompress. So take care not to lose or choose to spread yourself too thin, first of all, and neglect those close to you, or bring too much mania to your home. Your home should be a place of peace and love and warmth and what's the word? Peace, really, that your family can come home and feel safe and secure within. So support your life path 6 by creating that stable, nurturing, loving home environment for those close to you in your family and your community, and, you know, to a certain extent where you can, the wider world, as long as it doesn't spread you too thin when it comes to your family and your community. You're here to learn to be responsible and do good to those you care for, because when you're caring for those that are vulnerable, people naturally put you in positions of responsibility. And sometimes you can even resent being the responsible one and not want to do it. Or you can be over responsible. So you need to have boundaries on your responsibility so you don't do too much, and take care that you don't totally reject responsibility. It's like balancing your responsibility to others with boundaries. So accepting and thriving on responsibility, but knowing when to stop and take care of yourself, like the boundaries thing that I just spoke about. But your 9 motivation energy means that you're driven to act with integrity, responsibility and ethics for the good of humanity. That's what the 9 wants to do. So the 9 might try to stretch you a bit thin. Your heart may want to, again, as I said, bring well-being to wider, more humanitarian audiences, when really your focus should be at home. You love to help and teach and lead and influence others positively with your spiritual wisdom. So support that life path 6 you've got to answer your drive to be responsible, but with healthy boundaries for yourself and others, so that you don't do too much again and have too much influence on others, because people have got to walk their own path. And sometimes you can be a meddler and a fixer, and it's all for good intention, but at the end of the day, remember, you've got a path to walk and so have they, and you can only help up to a point by giving them the concepts, the knowledge, the wisdom and the tools to do whatever they need for themselves. You're here to also, and finally, and often most importantly for you as a life path 6 with the soul urge 9, is to develop and use your artistic and aesthetic and musical potential. Artistic enhancing makeup, great art, fine art, sculpture, home design, beauty, hairdressing, or great musical potential. So, but the thing is with the musical, because you're quite shy as a 6, you might not always develop your musical potential, but that creative artistry is there. So there's an element or a topic within creative artistry that you can use to help you nurture and support other people alongside your counsel and advice, and bringing peace and comfort in every environment to others. Your 9 motivation energy means that you're driven to be creative, artistic or musical, or all three. So you have a passion for art, aesthetics or music in some way, whether that's beauty and home and body, or art on paper or sculpture, or making music, singing, anything in the realms of creative artistry, textiles, graphics, anything where you create with your hands and your heart and your passion. And spiritual wisdom you love as well. Spiritual insights you can help people with. Your counsel, your wisdom, and your ability to communicate with people so that they listen. This is what you want to do. You want to use your words, your creative artistry, and your advice and counsel and wisdom to be an influencer, a teacher and a nurturer of others. And that's really supports your potential in the 6 to nurture with your creative artistry. So I hope you've enjoyed listening to my video today, and just before I go, I just want to let you know some exciting news. My beginner book, Remember Your Life Plan, has just been released on Amazon, and this gives you a basic grounding in numerology. It's for beginners and people that are just starting out, and it's good for you to read this before you read my other book. So Remember Your Life Plan is for beginners, really. Gives you a grounding in numerology, and it's sort of the level where people would do my foundations of numerology practitioner on Udemy. So that is my first beginner book, and it's just for newbies. This one is for people that are more intermediate. It provides a deeper analysis of the lessons and challenges of your life path and birthday energies, a concise list of your priority and secondary life path tasks, and it gives you a deeper understanding, and it's longer and more detailed analysis for potential numerology readers. And then Remember Your Talents, again, it's an intermediate level course, and it provides an analysis of the lessons of your life path with your talent number, with your expression number. So it shows how good you're going to be at achieving the lessons of your life path and birthday number. Again, a lesson by lesson comparison of your talents to see how easy or difficult each task in your life purpose will be. And again, it's longer and more detailed, and it's more for numerology readers that have a good grounding. And if you have a good grounding, you might want to take my master practitioner for readers on numerology if you prefer audio visual, or you'd like to do both. Remember Your Motivations is due out soon. I'm working frantically to try and get this third intermediate book of the trilogy out there for you, and I hope to do that soon. So and don't forget, if you want a reading from me one-to-one over Zoom, just send me an email. You might want an ongoing one-to-one service, in which case you might want to join my channel on YouTube. And if you live in the UK or you're visiting soon, I do shows all over Oxfordshire and Buckinghamshire and Berkshire sometimes, with Dear Spirit events. So come to one of our events for a personal reading, or just say hello and purchase one of my books. It's completely up to you. So these are my 3 books, and I hope you've enjoyed my video today, and get looking on Amazon, because I tell you what, to find them quickly, put my name in, Katie Ewers, Katieyouyers, and then my books come up straight away for you to have a look at. So I hope you enjoy my books, and I hope you've enjoyed my video today. See you soon.